Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my recovery journey of burnout. So if you haven't watched part 1, what are you doing? You can't start now. You can't start from part 2. Go back and watch part 1. It's gonna be somewhere around here in the cards. So the part 2 of this video is going to be all about my recovery and the things that I did, and I'm still doing them actually, to recover, to heal, to, get better and stay in that better state. So again, if you haven't watched part 1, go ahead and watch part 1. And part 1 and talk about the symptoms. And if you haven't already subscribed to the video, please do that. Like this video, like that other video, and let's get started. So the first thing I did in order to kickstart my recovery, to begin that recovery process, was number 1, slow down. It seems counterintuitive to slow down when you feel like you're not doing enough anyway. It's like, well, if I'm not doing shit, why am I going to slow down? What am I doing this for? And when you have a burnout, you are already kind of feeling behind, in this feeling that you're not doing enough, that, there's a race happening and you're falling behind. And I have experienced a lot of resistance to the slow down thing. I knew that I had to do that, but I couldn't just, put in the effort. I couldn't just actually slow down. But once I finally accepted that I had to slow down, then I realized that, yes, this is what I needed to do. It was hard at first, but it can bring you a sense of gratification afterwards. So what is slowing down? Slowing down doesn't necessarily mean to do things in a literal slow pace. It doesn't mean that you have to take days to do one sketch or something. I don't know. It doesn't mean to actually do things in a slower pace in terms of speed. What it does mean is that you take your time. You don't rush yourself. You don't push yourself to finish it. You do the thing thinking about what you're doing and putting all your effort into it and being conscious in the moment, being present in the moment, and giving whatever task you have your full attention, undivided attention. So you slow down. I think the slowing down process begins in the mind, actually, because when you start slowing down your mind and not thinking about the next task, or I just want this to be over, and you're just present, then your mind begins to get used to that slower pace, and as a consequence your body also begins to slow down, and you start doing things with more intention instead of rushing through everything just to get finished, just to get done with it, just to go to the next thing. So it basically means to pay attention. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to what is happening. Pay attention to... It could be anything. It could be, just paying attention to the birds flying in the sky, or the sounds of children screaming in the background somewhere. But paying attention to the things that are in your present moment. While I was editing, I realized I didn't mention meditation. That did help me a lot during my burnout period and the pandemic. It also helps slowing down quite a bit. Yoga is also helpful, but I haven't been able to practice the postures of yoga that much because of the problems I've been having with my arms. Another thing I didn't mention is microdosing. I can't officially recommend microdosing, but personally it helped me in my specific case. If you're interested, discuss it with your doctor and mental health professionals to see if that suits your need and if it is safe for you. Now back to the video. And your mind begins to understand that you don't have to frenetically anticipate the next step, what comes next. So you are much more in the present, and giving your full attention to something will probably make you do that thing better. So there's less correcting and going back to previous mistakes. It makes it more quality than quantity in a way, and you kind of avoid going back and redoing things. When you do things in a rush, when you do things, especially people who live in the cities, we tend to believe, it's kind of a belief that we hold, that we need to be doing things, and not just one thing at a time, but like a million things all together at the same time, because the city energy kind of builds up to that. So our lifestyle is very rushed and very chaotic, and with a bunch of things happening all at the same time. And then we feel like we don't have times in our hand because we're doing so many things, and time just slips away. It just flies by, and we weren't able to finish what we were doing. We weren't able to cross all of the items in our to-do list. But it does get better when we start to pay attention to what we're doing and paying attention to the world around us and this present moment. We find that we do have more time than we think, and we start realizing that we actually waste a lot of time, be it on social media, be it wasting energy thinking about things that are not useful to us. Whatever it is that is consuming your time, when you slow down and try to do things more intentionally, you have to think about the intention behind that. And then you start, identifying what it is that is worth your time and what is just wasting it. Living in a state of urgency takes a toll on your mental health. It can take a toll on your mental health, especially if you are prone to anxiety, and that's what was happening to me. Since my anxiety spiked during my burnout, like the worst part of it, slowing down was actually crucial for me to, take a step back and begin my process of recovering from it, because being burnt out is being exhausted all of the time, and you can't recover from that exhaustion while staying in that same place that made you exhausted in the first place. If I'm making any sense. I hope I'm making sense. So the slowing down and the process of recovery is a process of healing. When you're sick, you need time to heal. You need rest, you need sleep, you need good nutritional foods, you need a lot of things that you're probably neglecting, and you need those things in order to get better. And when you are burned out, you also need a few things in order to get better, and it's almost like if you were sick in a way, because you need that recovery. You need that time to process everything and to nurture yourself in order to get back out there. So you can take that slower lifestyle and apply it to your life the way that it fits, so you can adjust whatever and make sure that you are being more intentional in the things that you do. Of course, everyone is different, and everyone has a different life, and lives that need different things from us. But having that in the back of your mind, and always think about the intention behind what the things that you're doing, and not juggling a bunch of things at the same time, like delegating what you can, or just what can wait, just make it wait. Not everything is urgent, not everything has to be done right now, and separate what is actual priority. And your health is priority, so that has to be in the top of your list. If you don't have health, you don't do anything else. So yeah, just apply it to your life and see how you can make it work for you in your specific situation. You can also research about slow living. There's a whole movement happening where people live more intentional lives, more simple and slower lives. 2. Journaling. So the second thing that I invested time in doing is journaling. Writing saved me. Literally, writing saved me. So even before I understood that I needed to slow down, I threw myself in writing in my journal. So there's a bunch of things that writing can do for you. And for me personally, it helped me to process my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and the things that I was going through. It helped me, dissect them and understand them. It helped me understand what I was going through, what that really was, if it was coming from me, if it was, some outside force that led me to that point. And it also helped me get some bad shit out of my system. Things I was holding onto, things that, just need to let out. It was kind of an outlet for those kinds of energies. And I love writing, so that was really perfect for me. So once that thing, that energy, that whatever that was, that thought was in writing, it's like my brain understood that it didn't need to hold on to it anymore because it's saved somewhere else. It's like in a hard drive somewhere, so it doesn't need to take space in me anymore. And I noticed or realized that a lot of the bad feelings and emotions that I was feeling during this time were not deep rooted inside me, were very from that moment. So it was much easier to just cast them aside and cast them away and put it on my notebook, put it on my journal. And it's not like magic, it not always it disappears from you right when you put it down, but it makes you feel so much better that it literally feels like at least parts of it are dissolving and going away. And the more you do it, the more it feels like it's leaving your body. And the feelings and emotions and thoughts and things and beliefs that do need more work, that are more deep rooted, journaling about them helped me recognize them and analyze them. So journaling and writing became kind of a therapy for me because I was able to really analyze things and dissect them and get to a conclusion. Hi, it's me again. I also want to add that I did go to formal therapy for a period of time here where I got to know myself a lot more, and it opened a door for more self-discovery, and I do recommend therapy for everyone. I recommend you find the kind of therapy that works best for you. Okay, now back to the video again. I had cathartic experiences while writing and journaling and being honest in my writing, because you need to be honest when you are journaling with the intention of healing, because otherwise you're just sweeping things under the carpet, and that's not gonna do anything for you. That's actually gonna make things worse. So you need to be honest in your writing, and if you don't want anyone to read it, maybe buy a journal with a lock on it, or write on loose papers, and after a while just burn them, or I don't know. But be honest in your writing, be honest in your journaling. That is the actual work. Also, writing can put you on a trance state similar to hypnosis or meditation, where you can access subconscious thoughts and beliefs and emotions and deal with them in a more effective way. Since this is a state where you are more open to suggestions and change, I recommend anyone to pick up the habit of journaling or writing in whatever format it works best for them, no matter what they're going through. This is a good habit to have. And no matter what is the kind of writing that you do, you can do poetry, you can write stories, whatever you write, be honest in your writing and use that time for self-reflection and to really go inside and see what's going on. It's fun. It's a fun process. Number 3, make peace with your situation. So fighting the burnout and feeding that frustration feelings won't get you very far, because you are keeping yourself in that same energy, in the same position, in that same state of, I can't believe this is happening. So I spent a whole lot of time in just being frustrated. My frustration mode was on all of the time, and I was desperately fighting my burnout. It only led me to more frustration. It did not bring me any sort of resolution whatsoever. And you know what? After 2 years of my burnout, I am not 100%. And maybe I'll never be 100% again, at least not that 100% I was before the burnout. And I've learned that I have to make peace with it. I think making peace with the current situation is the first step to getting out of that situation. You need to accept there is a problem, accept that something is going on. Accepting there is a problem leads you to identifying the problem, and only then you can come up with a plan to get to a solution. So the sooner you make peace with your current situation, the sooner you can start your recovery process. And it is an exercise of acceptance. Acceptance that not everything is under your control all of the time, and that's okay. Acceptance that shit happens and you need to learn how to deal with them and not, dodging them. Because life will continue to happen and not everything will go your way. Unfortunately, I wish. And that is just life. That's just how it is. Sometimes we are running, looking so much ahead in the way that we don't notice there's like a hole in the ground and you fall in, or you trip and twist your ankle, and getting out of that hole slows you down. Getting up and waiting for your ankle to heal takes time and it slows you down. But think about it. How far do you think you can get with a twisted ankle? Like, how will your health and your ankle be 2 miles ahead, 5 miles ahead, 10 miles ahead? So accept the situation, slow down, do what needs to be done in order to recover. And then, only then, get back out there, get back to the race, and take the lesson with you. 4, define success. So all this race and running analogy is really connected with the kind of success that I find toxic, or at least the idea of success that I find toxic, like hustle culture style, the way capitalism likes it, competitive as fuck, and at the cost of your well-being, mental, physical, social, emotional. We have been socialized to believe we are competing to everyone around us, and that applies to everything really. The patriarchal systems I think most of us live in tend to force us to see everyone as adversaries. So there's a whole system built for us to feel this way, feel like we need to feel in this one spot, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a person of color, especially if you're non-binary or transgender, or you have any disability. It's like the competition is even harsher because the system was not built for these kinds of people, right? But in general, from a very young age, we are kind of encouraged to compete with our classmates because we are constantly being compared to our classmates, be it in grade, be it in behavior, in class. And then we learn to compete with them. And what do we do after school? We drag this shit around with us. And along with that, we are also taught what success looks like. So there's not a lot of room for other kinds of success, really. There's like this set idea and concept of what it means to be successful, what it looks like to be successful. So to me, success was taught as something like studying important discipline like medicine or law or engineering, things that are considered useful to society, or I don't know, it has some sort of status to it, right? So there's not a lot of space for other disciplines. There's not a lot of space for, artists such as myself. And so in that line of thought, it's like, in my experience, I was taught that being an artist doesn't equal success. You should go to those schools and, get a job somewhere and just climb the ladder. And then you earn a lot of money, and then you get married, and then you have kids. Which brings me to another issue. It's like this idea of success that is kind of engraved into the minds of young kids. Comes with a lot of conflict. It comes with a lot of contrast and issues and problems. So for instance, a woman is expected to do things men are not expected to do, and at the same time do the things that men are expected to do also. So it's kind of common sense that a woman should get married and have kids in order to be successful, in order to be a real woman. But then how does she maintain her work? How could she possibly perform better than her peers in order to climb up that ladder and, get promotions and make tons of money and buy fancy cars if she has, kids and a home to take care of? Because God forbid a man can do that. So all of this to say that even if you follow the instructions, you're gonna run into issues. There's so much that just doesn't add up. There's so much in the system that wasn't built for a lot of people who thinks and actually are taught that this is the only way, this is the only success, this is the only form and format of being a successful person in a society. There's just so much contradiction, so much conflict, and I'm saying all of this because I want to illustrate a simple point, that is, you define success. You define your success, and I define my success. And the people who are outside of your life cannot define success for you, because you can have all of those things that are in the successful checklist and not be happy. Then what? Is this success? So no one else can define success for you. This is just, they can't. So you need to define it for yourself. And until you stop pursuing what doesn't work for you, you will be repeatedly driving yourself over the burnout cliff. And if you decide that this is the kind of success that really resonates with you, and it has nothing to do with outside pressure, and this is something that you dream of, then proceed with caution, because nothing is worth your health. Nothing. No salary, no job title, no taps in the back from bosses, no jealousy from your peers. Nothing is worth your health. So define your own success and make sure you're not running a lost sprint. So these were the things that I started applying in order to begin and kickstart my recovery journey. And now it's time for prevention. If you have gone through a burnout already, you probably know what you can do to prevent another one from coming. But if you haven't, let me share with you 3 things that I learned during this horrible process. Number 1 is prioritize your health. I can't stress this enough. What am I doing with my hands? I can't stress this enough. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health, emotional health. Make sure your health is at the very top of your priority list, and don't take this lightly. If you're not well rested, you're probably not doing your best work. If you're stressed, you're probably not being as creative as you can be. If you don't take breaks, you are probably heading to a burnout right now. Please do not take your health lightly. Please take good care of your health. It is the most precious thing. 2, social media vampires. Social media can be a fun way to give your art some exposure, to show people what you're doing, what you're up to, but they can also be energy vampires. With the algorithms being more and more demanding of the creator, they can suck your mental, physical, creative energy like nothing else nowadays. Trying to deliver on social media really took a toll on my mental health, on my creativity, and really contributed for my burnout. So be very careful. Take your time with your work. Make sure you are developing a relationship with the work that you're doing and not just making things in order to be posted, to become like one split of a second of somebody's day, and you're actually just kind of working for the platform with not much in return. So please be careful with social media and delivering content when you're an artist, because you're an artist. Being a content creator is cool, is fine, is great, but that's not being an artist. So you have to separate those 2 things, or you're gonna go into a burnout like I did. So please be careful with that. 3, the prevention is the recovery. So even if you haven't gone through a burnout, do the things that I mentioned on the recovery portion of this video and use these things as a shield to protect you from the mental and physical exhaustion that leads to burnout, or that is, when very severe, it is the burnout itself. So use the recovery as your prevention strategy. So this is it for this video. I hope my tips were helpful. Sharing my experience was helpful to you. If you are going through a burnout right now, try applying those things and see how you feel, see what happens, and let me know in the comments also if you are going through this, if you have gone through this before, what helped you getting out of that situation. Let's help each other out, because knowing that we're not alone is already helpful in itself, and sharing experiences does really help a lot. And what worked for you could be the thing that works for someone else. So I encourage everyone to just share a little bit and give your 2 cents, and help each other out. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. It helps a lot too. And subscribe to the channel and do the YouTube things. I will see you next week, I think. And okay. Bye bye. Beijo.